Coming up on Newswatch, Gridiron Glory joins us at one of its 2 games of the week. Plus, why First Lady Jill Biden is making a visit to Ohio. And what to know as Congress struggles to replace their House Speaker. Newswatch starts right now.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for some high school football. Good evening, I'm Jessica Stelzer. Welcome to Newswatch. We're heading right outside to Gridiron Glory host Grayson Wolf, who joins us live. How's Southeast Ohio looking tonight, Grayson?
Thanks, Jess. This is the best week of games we've had all year long. You're certainly not going to want to miss it. All 5 of our Showtime games will determine the outcomes of conference titles. The MSL Buckeye, OVC, SVC, MVL Big, and TVC Ohio. So many storylines tonight, so I'm going to break it down a little bit. 2 game of the weeks, but we'll start with the game we're currently at in Sheridan and Tri-Valley. Caden Sheridan is the general signal caller, and he's balling, throwing for over 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns so far this season. And the Sheridan defense hasn't given up a point since early September. But Max Lyle and Jaden Wallace will have their say for the Scotty offense. Lyle is another quarterback with over 1,000 yards through the air, and he has 21 touchdowns to just 1 interception. And running back Jaden Wallace has over 1,500 all-purpose yards and 18 total touchdowns. Game of the week number 2 is Vinton County at Nelsonville York. The Buckeyes are led by Gavin Richard, who's averaging over 100 yards a game on the ground this year, along with 17 touchdowns. NY hasn't lost this game since 2018 and looks to take home the TVC Ohio title. On the other side, Garrett Brown and the Viking offense has been smoking hot. They've scored over 30 points in their last 5 games, and last week scored a school record 69 points. That Buckeye win streak coincides with the start of TJ Carper's tenure at VC. He looks to break the streak tonight. Ironton plays Galley Academy to win the OVC outright. The Fighting Tigers have taken care of their conference schedule, and their last test is tonight against the Blue Devils. Galley Academy is led on offense by senior Kenyon Franklin. He'll need a career day and some help from his defense to put off a monumental upset in Gallipolis. Unioto is coming off their game of the week win and travels to Paint Valley. Newton Hoops and the Sherman Tank offense will look to score early and often against the Bearcat defense, because the Paint Valley offense is one of the best in the SVC, led by the rushing attack of Preston Farber and Braylon Robertson, along with the downfield threat of Carson Free. And finally, Bloom Carroll faces another tough test. They took care of undefeated Logan Elm a couple weeks ago, and now another undefeated team stands in their way, Hamilton Township. The Bulldogs, as we know, are led by quarterback Ethan Thanavong and running back Dylan Armachar. And check out this stat. Bloom Carroll hasn't lost an MSL game since 2019. But as you guys know, there's always more. Just 3 digital games in our rundown tonight, but they all have huge playoff implications. McLean travels to Jackson in an FAC bout. The Tigers are on the outside of Region 16 playoff picture, but an upset win over the Ironmen would go quite a long way for the McLean playoff hopes. Jackson is comfortable in Region 11, looking to stay steady and get 2 home playoff games. Marietta travels across the border to West Virginia tonight to play Point Pleasant. Marietta is 0-1 in TSL play. If they win tonight and take care of Warren next week, they'll take home a share of the conference title with Fort Fry. Meanwhile, if Point Pleasant wins, they'll clinch their share alongside the Cadets. And finally, Trimble and Waterford meet for 2nd place in the TVC Hawking. In terms of playoff seeding, the Tomcats need this one for a chance at a home game. So get the full breakdown of all 8 of these games tonight right here on WOUB of episode 9 of Gridiron Glory at 11:30 p.m.
Sounds like some intense gameplay. I'll be sure to tune in tonight. Thanks, Grayson. I'm now joined by forecaster Cam Kuzno. What weather can we be expecting for our football goers this evening? I know it's pretty nice out today. What can we be expecting?
Oh, it was gorgeous today, and I'm happy to tell everybody that we are expecting the exact same thing, at least for the beginning of the game so far. We might have a little bit of trouble as the night progresses and everyone's heading to their cars, but for right now, we are expecting some nice weather for kickoff, for sure.
Very nice, very nice.
Right now in Athens, we're seeing 75 degrees and some beautiful clear skies and some light winds from the east at 6 miles per hour. Our barometer's holding steady right now. It's going to start trending downward here soon, and we have perfect visibility and a nice humidity. We've got about 40% humidity going on. Tonight, though, We're expected a low of 56 degrees and a new moon for us tonight and a 90% chance of showers. Those are going to start to make their way into the region around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight. They're also going to be very spotty, not really severe, not really intense, but we're going to see a little bit of rain showers, and that might unfortunately disrupt going home from the football games, but everything's going to be great for a little while. And that is going to be because of this huge low pressure system right here that's going to make its way into the region. I'll talk a little bit more about the timings and impacts of this system as we progress on Newswatch and bring my full forecast. But as of right now, I'll take it back to you, Jess.
Thanks, Cam. U.S. First Lady Jill Biden is in Central Ohio today speaking with students and school board officials. The First Lady arrived in Columbus and headed to Union County to meet with Outward Farms, a third-generation family-owned farm. She then headed to Fort Hays Career Center as a part of the Investing in America Workforce Hub program to participate in a roundtable discussion with school and district leaders. The Appalachian Clean Hydrogen Hub is receiving new funding from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law as one of 7 federally funded projects. President Joe Biden and Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm announced the $7 billion will be used to accelerate the domestic market for low-cost clean hydrogen. The Biden administration says the hubs will create more than $40 billion in private investment and tens of thousands of jobs. Roughly 2/3 of the total project investment is associated with green production. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says the hydrogen hub will be important for diversifying the Midwest and Northeast energy portfolio. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and the Ohio Department of Children and Youth Services are announcing the creation of the Ohio Promote Resources, Opportunities, and Meaningful Inclusion Through Support and Education, or PROMISE program. This new initiative, also known as the PROMISE program, is geared on increasing access to quality childcare and supporting services for children with disabilities. Ohio PROMISE is supported through federal ARPA discretionary funds. Zanesville City Schools are looking for renewal of a 5-year, $3.2 million levy in the November general election. The Zanesville Times Recorder reports the levy would be in effect for the beginning of the 2024 tax year. This emergency operating levy will remain a fixed dollar to ensure it will not lead to a tax increase for residents. The levy will provide funding for operational needs and support other various programs for the school district. This levy was passed in 1989 and has been approved for renewal 6 times since then. The Office of Ohio Auditor Keith Faber is recognizing Marietta City Auditor Sherry Hess and her staff with 2 awards. Hess was awarded Auditor of the State last Friday. This is the 3rd time the Marietta Department has won the yearly award. The City of Marietta will also be receiving the Achievement in Open and Transparent Government Award from the State Auditor's Office for the 4th time in a row. A public auction is going to be held to dispose of seized, unclaimed, and forfeited property in Hocking County. The Hocking County Board of Commissioners and the Hocking County Sheriff's Office announced the auction will be held at the Sheriff's Office impound lot located at 33845 Sutton Road in Logan on Saturday, October 28th at 10 a.m. The event will include vehicles, various tools, and other miscellaneous equipment. Cash, money order, or personal checks will be the only forms of payment accepted, with proper identification being required as well. Coming up after the break, the search for a House leader or a House Speaker continues. And the fight in Israel continues. Why citizens in Gaza are fleeing the city.
And we have rain heading our way for Southeast Ohio. Find out the timing and impacts of this big low pressure system right here during my full forecast after the break.
I don't understand why you've come back.
To make us a fortune.
Welcome!
Mummy, this is Victor.
My fiancé.
Oh,
He's got himself embroiled with a gangster.
I have to follow my heart. I can't go back to how it was before. Stay away from my wife.
How can I trust you?
I could ask you the same thing.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
Remember? First impressions.
this just is the beginning to a change in fortunes.
I'm awake. I feel like I've opened my eyes. The world is changing.
I think we should take it to the next level.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
I thought that was rather jolly.
So much fun.
You make a good team. And what will you tell the child when they ask where their dad is?
There's a wall. I'll tell them you're dead.
If we can find him, we'll get him. I'm here to make sure justice gets done.
I really love you more than anything.
It's really loud.
Shall we?
Fortune favors the bold.
It feels more like the start of something than the end.
On Masterpiece.
Welcome to the British Indian Army. Welcome to hell, sir.
I have no choice but to fight for my country.
Your enemy now looks like your friend.
How do you know who to trust? What if I were to recruit you to work for me?
To do what?
To fight, of course.
There will be casualties as a result of the decisions you make. Come on!
World on Fire on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
Amidst tensions on Capitol Hill that have left the House chamber paralyzed, House Republicans select Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan as their new Speaker nominee. The unofficial rally in today's Republican ballot vote was 124 to 81. Jordan beat out Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia. Republican infighting has left the House paralyzed after Kevin McCarthy's historic ouster earlier this month. It's unclear if Jordan will win the votes needed to secure the gavel in a full House vote as the conference faces this leadership crisis. And there's already signs Jordan will encounter resistance. Several lawmakers have said they will not vote for him. Some Republicans eager to put the messy internal politics behind them and get back to work as fighting rages between Israel and Hamas and a U.S. government funding deadline looming in 5 weeks.
The problem has been consistently that we've allowed emotion to get in the way of logic and in the way of the necessity to actually govern. I did not come here to be emotional. I came here to govern, and the quicker we get past that, the better off we are.
Jordan may face the same vote math problem as Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Scalise initially won the GOP Speaker nomination against Jordan, but dropped out of the race last night after facing a hardened block of opposition. The United States Supreme Court is adding another potential landmark case to its docket. The new case is called Relentless versus the Department of Commerce. The plaintiffs are asking the court to overturn a decades-old precedent which would restrict the power of federal agencies. It's a companion to a similar dispute called Loper-Bright Enterprises v. Raimondo, which the justices say they will hear in tandem with the new case in January. Ultimately, the court's decision could change the way the government handles issues such as climate change, immigration, labor conditions, and public health. The United Auto Workers will not be expanding their strike. That's from the announcement made by the president of the United Auto Workers, Shawn Fain, earlier today. He also said the UAW is prepared to call on more locals to stand up and walk out at any time.
As always, I want to first take time to honor our UAW family that's currently on strike. Tomorrow marks a full month on strike at the Big Three for our first wave of stand-up strikers.
Vice President Kamala Harris was in Las Vegas yesterday to speak with striking culinary workers. There are still no deals in sight for the workers.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Cam Kuznin, and I've brought up this low-pressure system that looks so menacing to us here over the central United States a couple of times. And that same low-pressure system bringing a lot of rain also brought us the nice warm weather we had. It brought up lots of air from the Gulf of Mexico and brought it right into the region. And unfortunately, we have this big section of clouds right here. That's going to be a big cold front, and that is going to cause us a little bit of a headache tonight and into the weekend, right? So we'll see this low-pressure system begin to churn and make its way through the region, causing some showers both tonight and through tomorrow. This low pressure system starting to mature. It's starting to get to its strongest right now, and you can just see that in this huge temperature difference where that cold front's located. See, it's still 76 degrees in Kansas City and 47 degrees all the way out in Rapid City here. And All these purples and blues are all temperatures in the high 50s, low 60s, and then bam, 76 in Kansas City. And that's showing just how strong this cold front is, just how strong this low pressure system is, and efficient it is at bringing in cold air. Tonight we're expecting lots and lots of rain showers and clouds across the central part of the United States. We are completely blanketed. Chicago, Pittsburgh, Louisville, Detroit, all of them expecting rain tonight. And for us, we're expecting a 90% chance of showers. These showers are going to be somewhat spotty. We're not going to expect any severe weather or any intense rain, but it is going to be kind of a pain in the neck for us as we see 56 degrees as our overnight low. Tomorrow, we're going to see those showers stick into the region. As a low pressure system matures, it starts to just kind of hang around for a little bit. We'll see a high of 69 and those showers persist through into tomorrow. And on our radar, we've got here's our low pressure system. This is our future cast. This is what we're expecting over the next few days. And over in southeast Ohio, this big line of storms right here, you can see the one that just pushed through. That's going to be the cold front making its way into the region. And with a low pressure system like this, it's just going to start to hang around. And then eventually we're going to get the wraparound precip from that same low pressure system. And it's not going to be very fun for any of us, certainly not me. And here's our culprit in action, our low pressure system. You can tell it's going to start to slow down once it occludes here with that purple occluded front, and then into tomorrow night it's going to slow down, hang out, cause a lot more rain for us, and then by Sunday it's sort of made its way around here, but that's when we're going to get that wraparound precipitation as it's going to continue to rain and press into our weekend. So here's Saturday, 80% chance of showers with 69 degrees, and you can just see how long this low pressure system is going to persist. We're expecting rain through till Tuesday, then it's going to warm up just a little bit for us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then next weekend we're expecting yet another low pressure system. I know that's not going to be fun, but that'll be it for your full look at the weather. We'll take you back over to Jess at the desk.
Thanks, Cam. Tens of thousands of civilians are on the move in northern Gaza, fleeing south after Israeli warnings that massive military action is imminent. Israel Defense Forces are amassing as the U.S. works with partners in the Middle East to save the lives of civilians caught in the possible crossfire or being held in captivity by Hamas. Laura Aguirre brings us more on this developing story.
We are at war with a very brutal enemy that needs to be defeated squarely.
Along with sustained airstrikes, Israeli troops are now conducting raids across Gaza's border and staging for a larger ground offensive.
We are operating in order to remove this threat once and for all from Israel.
Friday morning, Israel dropped leaflets into northern Gaza, warning over 1 million civilians, leave while you can, head south to safety, while Hamas tells residents to stay put.
But it's pretty clear that what they're trying to do is avoid civilian casualties and also separate Hamas from the human shields.
Human shields, the U.S. says, made of civilians and hostages, including Americans.
Israel has the right, indeed it has the obligation, to defend its people. We continue to discuss with Israel the importance of taking every possible precaution to avoid harming civilians.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Jordan and Qatar Friday, delicately negotiating for humanitarian channels and the release of hostages, while making it clear the U.S. supports Israel in its military objectives.
Let's not lose sight of why this is happening. Israel is conducting operations in Gaza because Hamas carried out terrorist attacks that killed, in the most horrific ways, 1,300 of its people.
They are going to pay the price for the atrocities that they conducted against the people of Israel.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Doctors Without Borders is condemning Israel's warning to evacuate, saying the IDF gave a hospital in Gaza just 2 hours to clear out, while patients are still being treated. Israeli military leadership says evacuating Gaza civilians will be able to return home after the IDF announces it's safe to do so, but there's no timeline for their return. Protesting over the Israeli conflict is climbing, and police departments are preparing for the intensity. Police departments in Washington, D.C. area are beefing up security, and some area schools are closed. Police announced plans to increase police presence around the city, county, and places of worship in response to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Jewish day schools nationwide are also addressing concerns of violence with heightened security measures. Some schools opted not to close, but increased security. Years after the incident, a police officer is found guilty in the death of Elijah McClain. A jury gave their verdicts late yesterday for the 2 Colorado police officers who arrested McLean. The unarmed 23-year-old black man died after he was subdued by police and injected with ketamine by paramedics in 2019. Randy Romina was found guilty of criminal neglect, homicide, and assault. The second officer, Jason Rosenblatt, who was fired by his police department in 2020, was acquitted of all charges against him. A third officer and 2 paramedics who treated McLean are set to go on in trial in a couple of weeks. The 3 have also not pleaded guilty, not guilty. What flammable liquids to watch out for during Fire Prevention Week? That story's still ahead. And for the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
My people in the buffalo have a shared history together.
The buffalo was sacred, and they could not imagine existence without the buffalo.
They were put on this earth to help us survive.
To think that our greed and our industrialization would blink this thing out.
This is the buffalo's last chance.
They've survived, we've survived. We both persisted.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
We're often referred to in the history books in the past tense, but here we are in the present and we're going full force.
Native women are strong and resilient.
My people in the buffalo have a shared history.
She's a warrior. It's about representing ourselves in the way we see ourselves.
We're scientists, we're engineers, we're doctors. We're doing things to make a difference in this world.
Do you understand that your children were removed because we deemed you unfit?
I want my kids.
Then stop, because all you'll get is jail.
They are under the care and protection of the government now.
Esther, please pick up the phone.
I'm looking for family members.
You have a sister, Dora Mueller, who wishes to be contacted. Would you like your sister's number?
Yes.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
The deadliest attack on Israel in 50 years.
Brutal fighting between Israelis and Palestinians centered on Gaza today.
Amid threats the war and terror could spread further, the death toll mounts.
Israel has hammered the region with airstrikes and artillery.
It's like a nightmare. We run away from the missiles.
Tonight at 8:30 on WOUB.
It's National Fire Prevention Week, and the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission is issuing a warning about the dangers of flammable liquids. Mandy Gaither has more on how to properly use and store fuel containers this fall.
From burning fall leaves to fire pits and barbecues, there are a lot of blazes this time of year, but flames and fuel don't mix.
There's thousands of people that are treated in hospital emergency rooms every year from burns and other injuries associated with fires that were related to fuel containers.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says properly storing, using, and handling fuel and gas cans or containers are all critical parts of fire safety.
You never want to put gasoline on a fire or an open flame. You want to use only appropriate approved materials for starting or relighting fires.
That means a fire starter log or stick. Other things to have on hand: a fire extinguisher, water container, or hose nearby in case the fire gets out of hand.
You also want to make sure that you check the weather beforehand. Make sure that there's not high winds or gusts, and also check to see that there aren't any warnings of risk of wildfires in your area.
Gas cans or fuel containers should be stored outside of a home in a cool and well-ventilated area, and never store or handle a fuel container near a heat source or flame.
The vapors itself can catch fire and flash back and explode, or they can flash forward violently and burn people nearby.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
After the break, how M&Ms could come to your rescue this Halloween. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
It's hard because when you're over there, your world stops.
I didn't understand that. We're getting indirect fire shot at every day.
Honestly, I was more fearful of getting sexually assaulted on the base.
When I heard the word veteran, I thought of older war veterans and never really realized that I was going to be considered a veteran after I got done with my service.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
AIDS is now spreading in coronavirus explodes in numbers. They had accused the president of high crime. I did not have sex. It's a witch hunt.
Did you think it was a radical policy?
I most certainly did think it was a radical policy.
We're encouraged at Frontline to go toward these types of stories. If it's important, if there's a public interest here, then Frontline is there to figure out compelling ways to tell them.
People were angry.
They're gonna start storming the gates?
I need you to understand what we are fighting for.
This is David versus Goliath.
I'm gonna fight this. Frontline specializes in some of the toughest subjects that one could take on as journalists.
Ukraine is now a nation at war.
No relief in sight for Mariupol.
In an era of misinformation and disinformation, it's absolutely crucial to have Frontline there to coolly and calmly tell people the truth.
How do we know until there is an investigation?
Can this be done in a way that respects people's rights?
These traditions of asking tough questions, but making sure our facts are right, that's the core of our mission today, and it was 40 years ago.
Finally tonight, if you run out of candy for trick-or-treaters this weekend, M&M's has a new solution. The Halloween Rescue Squad is a service that promises to deliver free Mars candy to your neighborhood in under an hour if you think you might run out. M&M's parent company Mars is teaming up with the delivery service GoPuff to facilitate the October 31st operation. Starting at 3 p.m., you can hit up the Halloween Rescue Squad website for candy reinforcements if you're running low. If you must live in a GoPuff delivery area to be eligible for the offer. Well, I don't know about you, Cam, but I think that's a great idea. I think I may be definitely delivering some extra candy to my house on Halloween.
Absolutely, and I can tell you that not all of that candy is going to go to trick-or-treaters either. This forecaster will take a lion's share of those treats.
Yeah, just for us, especially with the cold weather. I'm sure I won't be wanting to leave the house to get more candy.
Absolutely,
you know?
I'll curl up with some M&Ms any night. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that murky weather is going to head our way. Good M&M's weather for us, and that cold front is going to be just a part of this huge system slowing down on us, and it's going to cause us just some murky weather over the entire weekend and into the beginning of the work week as well. I know I'm not excited for it. It's almost like our punishment for having the beautiful warm weather we had today with that warm front passing through. So we're not excited for that. Tonight, though, expect if you went out to some football games tonight, a low of 56 degrees and some showers to make its way into the region for you as you're beginning to pack up and head home. Nothing too intense, no lightning, no severe weather, but just a few annoying little rain showers for you. It'll help the grass out a little bit, but I know it'll be a little bit of a headache to drive in. We're expecting sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:35. As well, and then tomorrow we're going to see those showers just persist into the region. Not exactly any kind of break for us. A high of 69 degrees, and that low is going to fall off a little bit once that cold front makes its way through the region. We're expecting a low of 45, and those lows are going to stick in the mid to low 40s through the beginning of the week and the weekend as well. And that's it for your full look at the weather.
All right. Well, thank you, Cam. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Grayson Wolf and Cam Kuzno, I'm Jessica Stelzer. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
The Cartober fundraising drive is on! Help give back this month by donating your used car, truck, RV, or boat to our station. Donating